Hi all, welcome to this session on React hooks. I'm glad that you are here. So, in this session, we are going to see about the React hooks obviously. So, before going to React hooks, I know some of them here are very new to React itself. So, I'm going to give some basic introduction about the React, and then we will be moving on to the React hooks. This is the introduction. Can you all be able to see this? So React was created by Jordan Murphy, a software engineer at Facebook. He was working on Facebook. So at the time he created this React here. And when he created that React.js, he named it Fast.js. Initially React.js was called Fast.js, and then later it was changed to React.js. So it was first deployed on Facebook's newsfeed in 2011. That is the Fast.js, and later on Instagram, and so on. They are now continuously using that React.js module in Facebook. Then this is a brief history about the React.js and what is React.js. So React.js is a JavaScript library, we all know, for building user interfaces. Okay. This is the very basic definition about React.js. This is what the React.js does. And it is maintained by Facebook company and a community of individual developers, and other companies supports the React.js project. So how do you build UIs using React.js? We saw the definition that a JavaScript library for building user interface. So how do we actually create those UIs? In React.js, we create small individual piece of UIs. So UIs means it can be a button or a text box. Those individual components will be creating, and then we'll combine them all together and make a complete application. This is how the React.js works. So every individual UI piece we call a component in React.js. So what does the React component mean? Generally, a React component consists of state, lifecycle methods, and the HTML elements. So I will be explaining these things. You might not understand now. So generally a React component consists of state, lifecycle methods, and other HTML elements. React components are arranged in tree-like structure, and each component will have parent-child relationship with other components. So in React we will have different components, and those components are arranged in a tree-like structure. The parent component will be there, and the child components will be connected to the parent component, and so on. So there are different types of React components. In React components itself, we have different types of React components. One we call the simple component, and other we call the stateful component. Okay. So the simple component itself can be written in two ways in React. One is using class component, using class, and using function. So we will call a component that is written in class as class component, and a component that is written in function, we will call it as function component. So React basically has two components, simple component and stateful component. So let's see what the simple component will look like. So this is a simple class component. Okay. So obviously everyone knows JavaScript. So we have a class, we have written a class, and we have a render function, and there we will have a HTML element. This is the very simple example of a React component. This is a hello world component. So I will tell you what this is, render and everything. So a simple function component will look like this. We have written another function. Inside that we are returning a HTML element. So far, can you able to understand? Am I clear? Yes. So this is the direct comparison between the class component and the function. A very simple example. Then, so far we have seen that simple class component, and now this is an example of stateful class component. As I've already told you, in React there are two types of component. The first one is a simple component, and the second one is the stateful component. So this is a stateful component, and that is written in class. This is how we will write. So this is a counter example. We will, if you see the render method here, in the render method we have, this is just a h1 tag. We are going to print the count, and this is a button, and this is an incrementer, and this is a decrementer button. So we have written a handler, on click handler, and this is referring to this one, this function. So this is how you update a state. This is a state. So in previous example we saw we didn't have the state. Okay. So if we have a state for a component, that is called a stateful component in React. So to update the state, there is an inbuilt function in React called setState. So when you trigger the set state, then the counter will be updated. So whenever the user clicks increment, this function will get called, and this so the set state will update the count, and this count is obviously reflected in the h1 tag. The same happens to the decrement. So this is stateful class count. So again, let's take a closer look. Types of components we have: simple component and stateful component. And simple component has class component and function component. And in stateful component, we are seeing class component example. And until React 16.8 version, there was no way to write a stateful component with a function by using functions. Okay. So in React 16.8, they've introduced React hooks to give an ability to set state in a function. So that is what React hooks comes in. This one. So what is React hooks? Hooks are functions that are let. This is a definition from the React hooks. Hooks are functions that let developers hook into React state and lifecycle features from function component. So we will be writing function component, and we will be setting a state, just like class component. So on February 16, 2019, they released this React hooks, and it came in 16.8 release, and the release in React hooks. So the same example now we have written it in the function using function. So this is how you write. The same way we have this HTML element. We haven't changed anything. So we have h1 tag, and we have increment and decrement button, and here we have written two handlers, increment function and decrement function. And this is how you store a state or update a state in using hooks.
What is that zero?
What?
Is that zero?
Yeah. So useState is the state hooks. Okay. This is called a hook. useState as a hook. Every hook will start with the prefix use. Okay. So useState is a hook for updating and setting the state. So we have count, just like the previous example, the variable. Then the update count is the set state. In class component we saw that set state updated the count variable. So here we use update count. This is the second parameter in an array. I mean, they've used the destructure, array destructure. The first case of an array we have the actual variable. The second array, second index, we have the function to update the state variable. So this one, the 0 is the initial value we pass to that state. In class component we used to directly set it using the same. This is how we will do that in hooks. So this is the direct component between the class and function component. So you have to write these many number of codes to make the counter component in class, and that is very simplified in function component. So we will look into the life cycle methods. In React we have life cycle methods. I've already told you. In React we have state, life cycle methods, and HTML component consists of these things. So we have seen state. Okay. State is just to store state of a component. In counter example, we wanted to store the counter state in the component, so we used the counters variable. In this example, so we are going to build a video player, which will look something like this. Simple UI play button. So first I'm going to create so now we are going to create a video player, right? So first we need a video tag, a separate component. So this is a simple function component, right? This doesn't have any state now. We just created a video tag with the source.
What is the use of that first line? Import React.
React. So this is just a React bundle we are importing. So without that line, React doesn't run.
It will work if you are remote, right? It won't work.
We have to import.
Render in short form where we do that.
Video tag is an HTML first language.
Yeah.
So I have created a player component where we have only the video element, and for the UI that button I'm going to create another component called player UI. Still?
Good stand outside.
Huh?
Good this side. Keep the laptop to that side.
No.
Welcome. Question from
So in player UI component, we just going to have two buttons. One is for playing and other is for passing the video. So we have to write the handle function. Remove that users. We have written two handlers. Now handle play is going to. So whenever the user clicked on play, we are going to play the console. To do that, we need a state. Okay. So we are going to use a use state hook that we will be importing it from React. And the syntax for this is the first one is the variable. Yeah, state. So if it is playing, if it is not playing, I'm going to show the play button, and if it is playing, I'm going to show the pause button. Okay, that is what we have written here. So when we are going to change the state. So what it will do is whenever the user clicks, go to this set is playing true. So we are changing the state, that is this is playing to true. So when it is playing, we will be just showing this pause button. Okay, the same way. Yeah, that we have. So we have created the player unit. So just set it for.
The second one should be false.
So these two are different components we have created, player component and player UI component. So we are going to bind these two. So we'll be writing a parent component for this. Yes. And I'm going to call this parent container. So from the player container, I'm going to go the player. And the player UI. So this is how we do wrap that two different components in the parent component. So if you see now, player is a different. The video tag is inside the player component, and the button is inside the player UI component. So there is no direct connection between that. Whenever we click something or when we trigger something in the player UI, video tag doesn't know. So to make the connection, what we have to do is to bring the state. Now we have the state of the playing and pass and everything inside the player unit. So in this case, we have to move this state to the parent component so that this child component will know what is happening. So we'll be moving the state. So I'm going to move this hand out. Let's proceed. So after that, we have moved these handlers and the state from the player UI to its parent component. So now the player UI also doesn't know the state, right? So to pass the state, we send as a props to the component, just like this. Explain. So inside that, you will be getting in the first parameter, you will be getting all this. So this is how you create player file.
You made a
Sure.
another app, right?
You mean this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So we now have three things. Now we have passed that state and the handlers coming to the child components. After that, so if you go to the player UI, everything will work. But in player, we are not doing anything in the props. So we are going to take only the is playing state, and there is another method called use effect. There is another hooks. What this will do is, so this is the syntax of user. We have something called life cycle method. A component has different life cycles. So in life cycle there are different stages in create components. The first one is when the component mount, we will call that component did mount. Okay. So what are the things we wanted to do inside when a component mount on the DOM, we will be writing inside that function. Okay, similarly, it has different stages. So this is what we did. So we created a player component, and this is how you do that in a class structure, and this is how you do that using function. And we created a player UI component, and this is how you do it class component. So we added a state that display. In class, you used to set the state. Then in player UI, we set up every handlers. This is how you set in class, and this is how you set in function. So we created a parent component that is player container, and we have so the player container there. So after player container array, we moved all those states and handlers from the child component to the parent component. That is one. Then in player UI, we passed those states to the player UI component, and this is how we will show hide those buttons. So lifecycle methods, these are the lifecycle methods in React, and there are some more. So this is how you write lifecycle method in class component. In class component, what are the things you wanted to do? Like in the state, initially when the component is mounted, whether the video has to play or not, you'll be writing inside the component did mount. Similarly, something I've written in component did everything, and we'll receive. So this is how you write that in using use effect in hooks. So this is the syntax for use effect. So every code that you write in component did mount will go this side, and did update will go this side, and every component that you wanted to unmount, before unmounting you wanted to do something, those code will go here. And you will be listening to some props. Based on the props change, you will be updating those lifecycle has to go here. In those values you will be passing it here. So that is what we have done here. In component did mode, we are just trying to, if the state is playing, we are playing the content. So that is what we have done. We are playing the content, and because pass, we are passing that.
Can you go back? And that we receive props when you pass he's playing, it will get updated to the state. Is that how it works?
With receive props.
Yeah, that's what you're doing as he's playing and he's doing.
Yeah, whenever we pass, whenever the state is changed in the parent container, we'll be passing that state as a prop. So whenever the props change, this function value will read and it will update that.
So can I give more number of props than a common field?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
can just
so
give the props that I need to listen to.
Yeah.
So I need not listen to all the prop changes happening.
in use of it you're saying?
Yeah, in case of,
Yeah.
you can just listen to whatever
Yeah.
has.
How do you implement command will receive props?
Like it.
Which component?
നിനക്ക് ലിസൺ ചെയ്യേണ്ട പ്രോപ്സ് മാത്രം ഇടാം.
ആ കമാൻഡിലാണ്
അതാണ് return.
I don't we have
If he was returning something, that will be used for that.
so with this code you will get a pay. So after that so when it comes like parent child component sometimes we have to in this case also we pass some props right from the parent to child. In this example we had only one layer of child, so there will be multiple subchilds, so where you have to pass all those states to all the way down to the child. Okay. And that so that is kind of tedious process, okay, sending props to the child. So in order to avoid that, we have another tool called use context tool. So there is a concept called context in React already. So they have written that as a separate hook, and which became very more popular. So this is how you create a context. In this case, we have created a context like this. Then player reducer. This is how you create a reducer. Okay. This is kind of inspired by Redux. Kind of. So we have different. So this is how you set up a provider. Player provider is another component. So after that, the player container, we have a player provider, RAM. Then the player UI will be using instead of getting from the props, we are directly getting it from the context. So we are not passing any props here, or we are not managing any state inside this. Everything goes in the context values and the reference. So how we can write as many number of child components, and all we have to do, we have to get the context, and we have to import what are the properties we need. So this is how the player component will become. So again we are designing the so that is playing state and this one. So that's all I prepared for today. There are so many things to cover, and this is obviously more. With this use effect and use state, we can do so many things along with use context. So some of the advantages I will explain is using class over using function over class. They have seen that their performance has improved. Okay. Because the composition is quite better than in inheritance in JavaScript. Then there is another concept that was introduced which was not in class component, that is custom hooks. You can write custom hooks like use state. Use state is a hook, and use reducer, use context. Those are hooks. Something like that we can write a custom hooks. So with the custom hooks allows us to share logic between components easily. If two components has a common logic, we can just create a custom hook, and just like use context, we are just using what are the things we need. So similarly, we can share logic between components. That is another advantage. And we have cleaner and less number of codes compared to the class component. We have less number of codes in the when using hooks, and we have decreased bundle size. Obviously, when number of lines gets decreased, the bundle size also is decreased. So this is what I had. Thank you.
And this is being used in the web app project. So we are not using Redux, or we are not using the class.
No, we are using Redux. We haven't yet used some cases like for setting the global, we need some global states. For that alone, we started using that use context, and we are trying to because we have already written everything in Redux.
Okay. Okay, so you're not using use context much.
Yeah. We
But
started
you're using
using-
the use state and use effect.
yeah, we started using.
We are also using React context for handling the role based access.
Context along with these hooks.
No,
Just a one.
just React context. So that we will
And that becomes a Redux replacement, is it?
no.
Then?
Just in our project, what we do is we test the user role in the app parent app level, and then we use the data
You pass to
pass
all
to all
the
the